Welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, OG Doom, the original Doom, is getting a Battle Royale mod because, of course, it is. Yeah, and we're going to talk about Steam with blockchains, but not Steam. But stick around. I'll attempt to explain how that works out.
Valve fixes VR for Linux. Shame no games actually use it. And Sunless Skies is out in January. They wrote you a book to tide you over in the meanwhile.
Valve breaks down the numbers of controllers, and PlayOnLinux counts to 5. It also learned some JavaScript along the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Old Man Ben, joined every week by the Canadian up north in Toronto. That is one Jordan Svang, and the man on the island in Britannia. That is one Pedro Mateus. You know him, you love him. And you lot joining us live, that's Chatroom Dynamic hanging out. Say hello.
Lude. Let
them know you're real. Helping us form the last, intricate, most important bit of Cocaine Voltron. Pick that up, YouTube, I dare you. Before we get started, we like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. I've been playing with Firewire. It was surprisingly non-eventful. I didn't lick it. Go listen to the pre-super shows, and if you want to hear that. More on that at 11. Jordan, outside of being a walking bag of germs, what have you been up to, buddy?
I'm also a walking bag of mucus. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, no, of note, two things. As of Wednesday, I can now squat 500 pounds, so that's kind of cool. And also waiting on my lap. I'm playing the Mash F5 on the Lenovo shipping page, waiting for my laptop to show up. Because if I refresh harder, it'll show up faster, right, Pedro?
Right.
No, that's not how that works. In fact, it might even get delayed for another week. You saw what happened to me on Tuesday. If you saw me attempt to stream, or if you saw the VOD that Van decided to post later on.
Hey, Cupcake, did you check out the Fubar on Friday?
Yeah, that had some crashing too.
at least it was not quite as painful as you. You didn't.
No.
You gave up.
Mine
I
was
was
the
like, fuck it,
entire
we're gonna keep going.
session.
Oh,
yeah, no. Yeah. With you guys ended up playing, what was it? Golf with your friends?
We did well, it wasn't fun after like it started being stable. And I'm like, oh, this is boring. Let's go play golf with friends.
Yeah, no, for me, it didn't get stable, and as it turns out, that's because of the NVIDIA 410 beta drivers. That shit's broken, yo.
Gotta wait for that extra green NVIDIA 420.
Yeah, baby.
That's where the good shit is.
So, is the horse looking a little green this week, baby?
I don't know, man. I can't see it because there's too much mucus in my eyes. It's the Steam!
Let's see if it's
That's probably just lodged some phlegm in my chest, so watch out, folks.
Yep. So, yes, indeed, Valve broke down the numbers, and they have a couple of charts that show how many people have which controllers and how many were actually active over the past couple of months. And you see the big chunk is the Xbox 360, obviously. Then comes the PS4. Then comes the Xbox One. Then the PS3. There's
the Xbox
there's
360. I understand at 27.2 million. That thing's been out fuck all forever. Yeah. I am a little surprised because the Xbox One not a big seller, but still 11.5 million.
Yep.
Because I think because people are still buying the controllers, right?
Yeah. And a lot of people, they didn't really enjoy the first 360 one, but it was so well supported that when the new Xbox One controller came out, they're like, oh, that looks nicer. So they bought that instead. But the big one here, it's not even the Steam controller, it's the Switch Pro controller.
What the man?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Even though it doesn't have anywhere near as much usage as the Xbox One, a lot of people were actually trying to use this Switch Pro controller ever since it came out. And on May 1st, 2018, Valve released an update which officially supported the Switch Pro controller. And if you look at that chart, it's like, it just jumped. It's like, holy crap. And yeah, no, apparently it works really well. And of course, they also have the breakdown of number of unique games played by controller type. And of course, the Steam controller gets played in all the games because, well, that's kind of what it was designed for, to be compatible with all the different games. And after seeing those Switch Pro numbers, I'm kind of tempted to get one, but they're so expensive.
I mean, you could be like me and just wait for one of these fuckers to go on sale for the price of a regular controller.
Yeah,
and I mean, the article does actually go into the DualShock 4 controller. I did not controversy, but sort of explaining a little bit about it, especially the issues where the button prompts are wrong, where you'll plug in your DualShock controller and it'll be like press A or press X, which is a very different button on the DualShock than it is on the Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Though we were talking about this a bit in the pre super shows, and I think a lot of what makes the DualShock 4 less popular as a controller for PC is the fact that it's so difficult to get it working under Windows, and under Linux you kind of just plug it in and it does its thing. So
I know, man. That's definitely a thing. When you read something like that, you just giggle to yourself like with glee, and like, oh, that's so nice. 195,000 Steam users using SNES controllers.
I mean, are those actually SNES controllers, or are like the 8-bit do thingies?
I don't know.
So they may classify it as just like if it has the same sort of button layout or like the same sort of limitations where it has the one shoulder button and the D-pad and that's it. Apparently they're also tracking GameCube controllers. You can't use that on PC without an adapter.
No Saturn controllers.
No original Atari controllers. No Pong controllers.
Rock Band instruments, though. I guess because there is that speedrunning category of just like, can you play this game with a fucking DJ pad or like a Guitar Hero guitar?
No, that is just motherfuckers playing Dark Souls on hard mode.
Harder mode.
That too.
Okay,
coming up next, man.
Up next, we have, the developer of... Nope. That's not what we're talking about. My brain's already going somewhere else. No, this is SBCR for Steam, which is a teeny tiny little extension for Firefox that gives you it gives you the Steam Play Proton rating that you would get from sbcr.netlify.org. .net, .com, I can't remember which one it is.
.edu, .biz, .info,
yeah. So basically it is just that. You install this little plugin, and whenever you go to the Steam store, it gives you the rating on whether the game is borked, whether it's bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, on a little field down below the publisher. So it's, if you want to indulge your inner heathen, you can.
We gotta look at it this way, man. I mean, even if you're not sitting burning heretic purchases, you got a bunch of Windows games in your library, period. You just do. Even I do, and I've bought
Humble
3. Right, Humble.
Humble bundle, yeah.
I think this is very handy because if I can ever remember the name of that web zone, which is a beautiful site now. I mean, it's very well done. And this will at least save me because I know I never go to the site. It is just, I'm just like, just install it. Let's see what happens. This can help you out with that.
It's interesting too, especially because like in the very, very early days of Proton, people are turning on Wild West mode and they're getting pissed off. Oh, well, Game X doesn't work. I'm thinking maybe Valve needs to like sort of integrate this into the main product. Or like make it an opt-in option or something, because that would be super useful. Also, as an aside, I keep wanting to call this SPQR, which is very, very different. But anyways,
hey man,
yeah, for me it just needs Chrome.
Make one of our own domain names. That thing that tells you the ratings for Proton on Steam.com .org.
.org, .biz, .edu,
/horse, and just we'll just for that.
.horse. All right, Steam VR. For the 3 of you who actually own VR headsets in the audience, there's an update: 1538 082325 3.14159265355859. This was released on September 27th, and the Steam VR beta has been updated with some Linux fixes, which is very, very strange. There's a startup crash fixed in extended desktop mode, which is really the only way you can use VR in Steam for Linux, from my understanding of it. And there's also a crash in room setup. So this is all well and good, except for the fact that aside from a couple select Proton titles, you can't really play VR shit under Linux. I mean, Dota works and maybe Distance works, and a couple others, but Superhot definitely works because I actually have seen that working myself. So
Serious Sam VR.
No, Serious
yeah,
Sam VR.
oh yeah, in the Crow Team stuff, 100% would work. So I mean, if you, like I said, if you're one of the 3 people who use Linux regularly and own a VR kit, then yay, your VR setup won't crash anymore. Good on you.
Good
Congrats.
on that. So, closing out Steam news this week, Robot Cash takes aim at Steam with digital store that lets you resell your games. And, you guessed it, mine crypto while you're at it. Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's kind of their idea. Now, they've not said anything about Linux, Mac, or anything like this. This is the concept of allowing you to purchase and sell your games by keeping track of everything in the blockchain. So, securing digital sales with the blockchain, that's kind of neat. Being able to resell games, that's really neat if you can lock it into, but here's the problem, Brad. Developers are going to be real hesitant to do that because, it's digital games. Let's just sell everyone a copy. We don't want them reselling them.
And or you could go the Nintendo approach, and the developer all of a sudden goes, wait a second, so the price of my game is actually tied to how much people want it. So if I create some artificial scarcity, all of a sudden my game is really pricey, and I can make a hell of a lot of money out of it.
I mean, to your point, like, this is fundamentally at odds with the sort of digital economy, right? Because a used game market is useful when there's a limited number of physical copies going around, when developers aren't operating under razor-thin margins. But this is the case today. There's not we say it all the time. There's not a physical limit of bits available. You can always download another copy of a game, and having some sort of secondary market doesn't really help it doesn't help the developers who already have razor-thin margins on stuff like the Steam store and the Switch store. So really, like, it's nice to be able to say, oh, couldn't we go back to like when Pepperidge Farm remembers when I could buy a game and then go back to fucking GameSpot and sell it?
Well, here's another thing they point out with their stores. They're not going to be taking the lion's share cut with this. That is one of the things to attract developers. That's kind of the carrot. Like, hey, man, we're not going to be taking the Steam 30 or 40%. We're going to be taking a little small thing. And kind of offset that. You have the option to opt in to mine some crypto.
Yeah, you mine yourself some crypto. The developers of the store get to keep some of that crypto for themselves, and you get the rest of it. Which, I guess it could work, and it would be a way to actually keep them motivated to moderate their store more and curate their store far more so than Valve ever would. So, yeah.
And I mean, like, maybe giving the developers a cut of every single resale might be useful, but then you get into like the 1 penny
the Steam marketplace.
Space.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I don't know, man. I would like, that kind of changes things if you own that digital copy and you can track that digital copy because. Then it's a tangible thing. It's not just a duplication of bits, which is still just a duplication of bits, but it's bits that you can't get back, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's in the blockchain now, so
right. And everything's better in the blockchain.
It's in the ether. Quite
that
literally.
that blockchain, it's so hot right now.
Let's do some game updates.
Yeah, Sunless Skies. We reviewed its predecessor, Sunless Seas, a while ago, but January 31st, 2019 is when Sunless Sky is going to be out. It's essentially the same game, except in space. And to tide you over, they've actually released a pen and paper RPG by Grant Howitt and Chris Taylor to tide people over. And I perused it, and it's like a very limited scope micro RPG that will maybe do you good for about 3 or 4 sessions, and then you're gonna go back to playing Dungeons and Dragons because that's what everyone else is fucking playing, much to my chagrin anyways. But that said, Sunless Sky, it's gonna be coming soon. I don't know, the first game was just kind of meh. It had some interesting mechanics, and I'm interested to see how the next iteration of it will sort of improve and refine it, because it wasn't necessarily a bad game. It just the fuel, the limited fuel mechanic made it very, very strange because it wants you to explore, but if you fuck up exploring, then you just die because you run out of fuel. So
and everything is a wall of text. It's one of those games that doesn't really show you what's going on. It tells you what's going on, and that was really annoying. I guess if you don't mind reading a lot of text, you will probably enjoy Sunless Skies, because I don't see that going away.
I don't mind the reading, but there comes a point. It's like, this should be integral to the game. I mean, I should be able to, because I start skipping over stuff, and especially when you like bury things, is like, I need to go back and figure out what I missed. Because the game told me. I was like, I don't have time for this. I want to go back and play the game.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I don't mind reading in my games. Sometimes I will just get stuck in a lore dump, and then I'll be like, oh, this is really cool. It's a shame I'm not going to see any of this for about 40 hours. Probably more, because I'm stuck reading this. But I mean, I guess we have, what, five months until we actually see what changes have come about.
Yeah. Well, prepare yourself, because there's something you can play right now. That is the latest update to Rocket Cars, version 1.53. It's bringing a lot of stuff that you can buy. A bunch of Hot Wheels stuff to decorate your business with. Hot Wheels Rivals is now a playable arena for casual playlist. I guess we might try that in the after shows. And there's tournaments, private matches, and offline matches for that business. But yeah, Pedro, you can give them some money now and put stuff in your cars.
Yes. There's another £4 or $5 DLC pack if you want to get the 3 new car bodies and some of the unlockables. You just get them straight away. The rest of them you will still have to play like everybody else. But hey, it's more economy like they're doing, so that's fine.
Quit
I guess.
Being an apologist. Rocket Cars is pay to win, Pedro. You should know better.
Except that all the car bodies are basically the same. They're just variants on the ones that already exist.
I don't know, man. I mean, some people have buried their fucking flag in that argument. And like, okay. At this point, I just like watch. I'm just eating popcorn. I was like, all right, keep
listen. I'm just pissed off that I keep giving Rocket League money and I still don't get any better. What the fuck is this pay to win bullshit if I'm not actually winning?
It's the thing. There's a couple of mechanic changes in there, but yeah, the big thing is, hey man, DLC and a new arena that it'll be interesting to play around with. So I was interested in that. Let's go immediately to something that I don't care about, not in this level.
But I absolutely love. Oh my god, Pillars of Eternity: Deadfire. They have the 3.0 update, Seeker's Slayer Survivor. This is the second DLC released for Pillars of Eternity 2. They add a bunch of spells, ranger abilities. I don't know why you would want a kill cam in an isometric turn-based RPG, but you have one and you can configure the fuck out of it, apparently. There's what I always love these updates because they clearly have shit blocked off in spoilers. It's like, you didn't know this was broken, and if you find out it was broken, it probably spoiled a bunch of shit for you. The other thing they introduced in this release is Mega Boss battles. So if you want to test your Ultra Munchkining, you can put those to the test. And of course, there's the usual host of gameplay and AI fixes that are included. There's also some new game plus mods, so you can sort of change how the game plays the second time around.
Good version of this is $74.99.
I think that just comes with all the DLC. So if you already own the game, then you just need to buy the DLC.
Well, all the DLC together, that's actually a bargain. The DLC is $59.96.
Yeah,
they actually include a deck of many things. What the fuck? As an avid RPG player, you put that in a game and you ruin it. God damn it, Obsidian! Why would you do that? Why?
No. Money. You create a deck of many things that only has one card left. That's it.
All right. And up next, we got a Stupid Monkey update for Stupid Monkey Game Ultimate Chicken Horse. They have the Chimply Amazing update. They added a chimp you can play as a monkey now. They also added 3 new levels, including the nuclear plant and the mainframe. I'm sorry, nuclear plant, because it's pronounced nuclear. Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear.
We don't need to fill time.
Pronounced wrong. Is what you're saying.
There's a few funky block types that you can use to fuck over your friends, but actually fuck over yourself. And now you can customize the bejesus out of the match, including adjusting scoring, block appearance rates, and more. Did you guys try this out on Friday?
Nope.
The Chimply amazing stuff? Nope.
Why do you think that? Hey, I'll tell you what we did do. We tried to try it out, and through sheer persistence, we managed to get a little bit in, because the ultimate Chimp update is the ultimate spite crash to desktop with the Fury of 1,000 Suns update. It was pretty rough, man. We tried some custom levels. Like, we had a good time. It was like, oh, wait, this is like a regular desktop. Okay, let's try a waterfall. Oh, this is going to be kind of fun to get desktop. Okay, let's just try a regular new level. And a little bit of gameplay, desktop. Then we tried, finally, third or fourth one, I think the farm. And everything worked. We played it in creative mode, where you can just basically throw all the shit at the wall. And it's a fun game. It's a fun fuck around game. It even handles like network connectivity with someone in Tanzania. That managed to work out, which is always good. Linux Nuru is always our guinea pig on that. 4 players online, multiplayer. I think this is like one of our games that is kind of in our category of like, when's this coming out of early access?
Mm-hmm.
We lost
Isn't
distance.
it out of early access?
Fuck no.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I mean, with all the crashiness, you'd probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an easy mistake to make.
You're forgiven for thinking that it isn't, but yeah, no, it is.
Okay, well, I have less sympathy for it now.
Brad, what about Brad Symphony?
Brad Symphony, man. Brad Symphony's a thing. Check this out, Blade Symphony. The developers contacted us earlier this week, unsolicited. They're like, hey, man, it's out. Go check it out. You can play it for 20 hours. So if you're listening to this on your Monday drive, wah, wah. But it's currently 80% off, 99 pence, or what, 89 pence or something like that. You can pick it up, get a copy. It's multiplayer, online multiplayer. It's the thing. Prove you are the world's greatest swordsman. Engage in tactical 1v. This is like Dark Souls. This is PvP 1 versus 1 Dark Souls is what this is. Mm-hmm. But they've kind of changed it up a little bit, because part of the email, they were throwing down some, the latest update. This is the reason we're covering it. It is official Linux support. I've been in the beta for this for like a month. And I mean, it does work 100%. It's running on the latest version of the source engine. That's the thing. It's good. It does launch. It's very performant, because I mean, it's a source game. The update also includes, this is what they've done. They've added a gentler learning curve, kind of inspired with games like Jedi Knights, Lightsaber Duels, and Soul Calibur. That's it. Hear me out. If you're going to make something easier, kind of nerf it down so someone as simple as me can play it. And you're going to have an option for controller support in the game. And it's a source game, so a Steam controller should work very well. You might want to do slightly better than this, question mark?
So you can press the up button, but what does it do? What does it do?
Game UI controller buttons titty.
Titty. This is all it shows when you go to do anything with the buttons, and it's just for everyone, the majority of you listening on audio, it is just a picture of an Xbox 360 controller with a bunch of lines drawn on it with no labels. Mm-hmm. Wow. So I'm going to throw this out there. Also, we've like thrown the feeler out there. We're like, hey, if you guys want to come on the show, we'll talk about, your experiences. So I was talking with the PR guy, and he forwarded that information onto the developer. So we'll let you know when we know something. But I'm just going to say, using the Steam controller with a game built with a source engine, no button prompts, that sucks. And also the grab buttons non-existent on the Steam controller. And there's no way to, just fix your shit. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm very curious to see what sword fighting Counter-Strike Go is going to play like. A lot of people are saying, yeah, the physics are great and the sword fighting is great. There's just one problem. There's no one playing it. That's bad.
Possibly.
That's a bit bad.
just want to know what pressing the down button does. I'm gripped by this. This is unsolved mysteries.
I was genuinely irritated that the grab button, because you can't finish the tutorial, and I wore the Steam. I was like, maybe if I press this down with this, and it's like, no, this is not having it. Otherwise, it's really pretty for a Source game. It has that going for it. So maybe we'll play something in the future, because we have Thursdays, Fridays, Tuesdays, all that to play around. So Jordan, you like mechs?
I like giant robots. Oh, everyone digs giant robots. Chicks dig giant robots. It's good. BattleTech update, 121 and Linux beta. Oh my god. So we talked about this a while ago. Hairbrained was like, oh well, you know, it's releasing now. Linux support is coming in the future, which, as we've been conditioned to believe, based on past experience, means it's not coming, Brad. But lo and behold, Hairbrained proved us wrong. They've been pretty good about the Linux support in the past, so they've proven us wrong, and I think that's a good thing. Anyways, so you can now opt into the Linux beta. You can't, if you've been playing this through the Protons, if you've been playing it on your Windows partition because you're a dirty fucking heathen, then you may want to back up your save, because apparently the saves aren't necessarily compatible and you may lose your progress. So keep that in mind. Apparently you can't use hyperlinks on SteamOS because HTTP is just too advanced for Linux.
Well, they do point out, I mean, there's a couple of known issues, like 5 or 6 of them. One of them is like on SteamOS connectivity, a little spotty.
Yeah, and at the moment you can only play it with other Linux users, so they got the feral thing going for them.
I was about to say, did they hire feral to the?
Yeah, it's turn-based giant robot strategy, so this is the potential to be another big old time sink for me. And I was actually kind of looking forward to it when I first heard about this. This is in the same universe, fictional universe at least, as Mech Warrior, so there's that.
I mean, I'm digging on it, man. Multiplayer, like I said, has some issues. I do want to thank Jeremy over at PC Per, because he replied me on Twitter, and he's like, yo, and I was like, ooh, that's neat, because, listen, I'm not in turn-based. The mech thing, I was a big fan of Mech Warrior 2 back in the day. Turn-based just spoils it, but I know a lot of people, Jordan, Empty, are really digging on it, and I'm always happy when a developer keeps their Linux promise, man. And they're like, yo, we said we were going to do this. We're going to do this. Unlike some gaping D-bags like Stainless, creators of Carmageddon. Oh, but they're still totally going to finish shipping physical rewards 5 years later. Any day now.
No, they're not. See, we're starting to run out of whipping boys at this point, but we'll always have Carmageddon. That's not going anywhere.
Distance hit 1.0 and is out of early access. That was a thing that we didn't expect to happen until the heat death of the universe, but you know.
Okay, let's go from one thing I don't care about to another thing that I think universally we're just tired of.
We just don't care about. No, this is Total War. Another one. This one is literally called The Three Kingdoms. Yeah. So it's about 7 short of that really kind of awesome movie trilogy, but it's being ported, of course, by our lovely, lovely friends at
Yellow Turban Rebellion. Little racist.
I mean, they're Taoists, so I mean, they did really hate the Taoists back then. But yeah, I totally do want to see just a Total War game called Total War, the other one.
Yeah, it might as well be called that at this point. They have so many variants on so many different like lore settings and whatnot.
Well, you know it's a Total War game when really sparse on the screenshots because it's the same fucking engine from a decade ago, more than a decade ago.
Yeah, no, you want to see the different Total War games, you look at the trailers. Ooh, look, cinematic trailer. That looks nice, that looks nice, that looks nice. And then you watch a gameplay trailer for any of them. It's like, oh, that's a Total War game.
Mm-hmm. But hey, man, it's coming to Linux apparently shortly after the Windows version. It's going to be released on March 7th, 2019, according to a feral human.
Yeah, according to the Steam page as well. And, you know, considering Feral's turnaround time, that's actually pretty good, considering we're usually waiting about 2-3 years for the Linux ports of anything.
Yeah, 100%. That's good. I mean, it's got to be an awesome, awesome time to be a Linux user and a Total War fan, because you're fucking living the life, man. Because
oh yeah, you got more games than you know what to do with.
Right. They're just coming out. I don't know. What do you think? Did like Feral like sign a long-term contract and they got paid up front? And they're like, shit. All right,
They
are these just
probably
really
just
easy
went
to
to
do,
Sega.
or does we'll see? That's,
I'm pretty sure it's just the low effort thing, right? Like, because it's the same fucking game. So they got to import the new art assets. Maybe there's some new mechanical stuff they need to update their version of the engine for, but for the and then you got to QA the shit. But beyond that, I'm pretty sure these are fairly low effort for them. And
they just went to Sega and said,
Yep.
we'll port your engine for this much, and then you can just shit out games as much as you want. Oh, cool. We'll do that.
Well, it's Creative Assembly, not Sega. Sega's just publishing it.
so it's a thing, man. I mean, if it's your thing, rock on. We played a couple of them. We played enough Total War to go. Not our thing, but
not our speed at all.
Multi-bombers. This showed up, man. It's an early access game, and it's completely free to play. This is 3D Bomberman, 100%. Now, it's extremely basic. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up, because it's free, and it's got multiplayer, which is an interesting little dynamic. I mean, this is kind of like Babby's first Unity game, but it works. I mean, it's Bomberman. There's not much to make work. Might try it out, because it is explodey. But you can buy a supporter pack. You can give them $10 if you want. So maybe something you want to try out, maybe something you don't. I installed it. It runs. It's extremely basic, so I was able to run it on this old crusty 980 at UHD at 3040 by 2160, and it was easily cruising at like 70 or 80.
Yeah, no, it's the thing that got me with this one is like, oh, well, okay, multiplayer Bomberman would be nice to have something like that on PC. And then I look at the screen, just like, oh, that's first person. I'm curious now. I got
real curious the first time I blew my ass up. I was like, oh, that's how that works. No.
Yeah. Well, it's like, this is going to get very claustrophobic, because really tight corridors, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by bombs, and you're just like, oh god.
Well, it's not even that too, because like in traditional multiplayer Bomberman, you can see where everyone else is. This is not the case in first person, where you're kind of just bombing blindly and hoping that someone gets hit in your radius. So I don't know.
It's like University all over again.
Yeah. Except with less my house burning down.
Something we like to play is Jackbox Party Packs 1 through 4, which maybe they've added this, but last time I checked, no mention that they had Linux versions available on their website. And you can download to play it. They're native as Shockwave Flash gets. But Party Pack 5 is coming out this October 18th, and it's going to bring back You Don't Know Jack, and it's going to be up to 8 players, so that's going to be fun. A couple other little games, lyric writing game, that's going to be fucky, patently stupid, a couple other things, but officially, right here on the pre-order page on Steam, it now says SteamOS and Linux. Jill pointed this out to me yesterday. She was in contact with one of the art people at that to one of the things, and looking forward to it. I don't pre-order things, but if that's your dice, it's currently 17% off, and it's really fun. I like it.
It's a party game, right? Like, you get a bunch of people together, you do some trivia, you insult each other, you have yourself a fun old time jacking each other off.
Hey, admittedly, we have to do some of our fuckery in order to get everyone online to play, because there's not really an online way to play it.
No, it expects that at least several people are in the same room.
Right. We can choose it easy enough with like Discord and, virtual cams and stuff like that, but it's still a very fun experience. Plus, people can play at home. We can have audience participation. So glad to see that. What do we get up next?
We have, I have the Sniffles, but this is Niflheim. It's, it's another...
Sniffleheim.
Yeah, Sniffleheim.
Sniffleheim.
And it's a 2D RPG resource gathering survival tower defense type mashup thing. Which, if you start tacking any more...
40 seconds into the trailer, still no gameplay.
For procedurally generated early access...
Yeah, no, you start tacking any more, genres and, I don't know, fancy words to it, and you might actually get a game at some point. This one, well, it looks very basic. The combat animations look kind of bad if I'm being honest.
Hey man, think about it like this: if Salt and Sanctuary were done by the Monty Python artist and animators,
Terry Gilliam, yeah,
sure.
Actually, shit, I played the fuck out of that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that would actually look interesting. This just looks like, oh, look, numbers are coming out when you hit enemies.
I think the art style I dig. I like the background art. However, I will agree with you. The animation looks a bit too much ragdolly for me.
Yeah, I liked Salt and Sanctuary. I played that game a lot more than I should have. I got all the achievements for it, so I like it a lot. And this one's just not selling me on it. It may also be the fact that, survival 2D games on Steam nowadays.
Look at the hipster note on Brad, man. 4:3 and 21:9 screen ratio supported. Jesus, you can play this on a fixie.
Yes.
I mean, you can play it on one of those ultra-wide monitors. No, I mean, it's another one of these Norse-themed games. And listen, I get it. Norse mythology is cool. I own 2 translations of the Poetic and Prose Edda. But, my God, there's just so many of them these days. It's getting a little old. Maybe give it a rest for a couple of years. You know what's really cool? We only had one game ever released on it. Fucking Indian mythology. Like, fucking Hindu mythology is interesting as shit. And we had Ashura, and that was it.
You just don't like it because you don't want it to go mainstream, man. That's all it is. You're one of those people.
Well, it's already mainstream. Fucking Thor Ragnarok has made $3 billion. I don't know. Chris
I'm just
Hemsworth.
glad, I'm just glad
Because
we're
comic
past...
book shit's Norse mythology. Got it. Understood.
I'm just glad we're past the hipster pixel bullshit at this point. I really do not miss that phase, but come on. Just give me
Superman
something else.
is basically Jesus. Fight me. Anyways, up next. Close this off. Pathfinder Kingmaker. Pathfinder Finemaker. I don't know. It is a isometric game, much like Pillars of Eternity, Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, etc., etc. Except this one, if you hate AD&D, is based off of Pathfinder, or at least the last version of Pathfinder, because Pathfinder 2 is in beta right now. But you can pick this up. It's out finally. They had contacted us a while ago about this, and it was kind of interesting. A lot of my issues with Pathfinder as a game come from shit that occurs at a table, and over demand of system mastery. But having a game sort of like direct you in the correct area is probably a little better and might actually work in Pathfinder's favor. From what I've heard, because people have been playing the shit out of this, it's actually pretty solid in terms of isometric turn-based RPG. No online multiplayer, though, which is a little sad. I get it. It's supposed to be a single-player experience, but sometimes you want your friends to sort of show up and have the adventures of Bong Rips 420 and 6969 ass slut.
Well, I gotta think, man, definitely to myself, a game built on something that was a communal, like, meat space type game doesn't have that ability. It's in forever alone mode.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I would just like to have some multiplayer so we could have more Jordan and Sandy, like Divinity style thing.
Well, listen, it could at least come with like some type of smell-o-vision, so you could have like that, D&D funk, so you'd feel like you're in a communal setting.
The smell is... Ladies and gentlemen, just as a side, please, if you're going to be going to a board gaming club or a tabletop gathering, please wear some deodorant.
Dude,
please.
I thought that shit was like just
Shower
an internet
before.
thing. At our local game store, they have that sign that says bathe before coming in here.
It's a thing. Most and to be fair, most people are good about it, but some people really need that fucking reminder.
Right.
Anyways,
all right.
Coming up next, oh my god, there's a Steam controller thing for non-Steam games.
There's a Steam controller in my game news.
And we're back.
Nope.
Not like we went anywhere.
Are we back like scoliosis?
It's just a transition from one segment to the other. But hey, it's Chat Realm Appreciation minutes. Let's try not to go as long as we just did. But you all are awesome, and there's a lot of you this week that decided to be extra generous. So we very much appreciate it. But hey, if you two out there right now would like to...
you two, both of you.
no, we're talking to Bono, The Edge, and those two other guys who no one knows about in the band U2.
Give us all of your money. Please.
You know what? Personally, I would like all of Bono's money. I think I could use it a lot better than he is. Anyways, I gotta thank all the lovely people who make this nightmare feel possible. They are the psychopaths who get penguins to sit on their face and throw cash at them, and go to LinuxGameCast.com and click the support the show button.
Motherfucker, I got this. Go for it.
All right, yeah.
This is my new game.
Okay. Yeah, we got Newegg affiliate links, Amazon affiliate links.
I can hack around this page.
We got Bitcoin Cash, PayPal links if you want to give us money that way.
Oh shit! Hang on, we're supposed to be plugging. God damn it! All right, there we go.
See, that's far more entertaining.
We're not good at asking for support. Anyway,
we got some wish lists off Amazon. You want to buy us some stuff? Ben will tell you about that a little bit later. Of course, all the cool kids go to the Cool Kids Club at patreon.com/LinuxGameCast, where becoming a Patreon gets you cool stuff like access to our Discord channel, early show note access, the ability to even talk to us through the show notes, make story suggestions. You get access to Uncut VOD 3 days earlies. You can show up for games that we're streaming and hang out with us, play some games. Or if you're so inclined, you can even buy yourself a slot on the show. And we got some lovely people we got to thank this week.
Hey, man, there's one thing I want to throw in. Something that we finally, thanks to your support, have the ability to do, and it's one thing we're going to be testing out short term, is if you want to listen to the pre-super shows while we're doing it live, and you're a patron, you get your Discord set up, you can. It's a thing. We did it today. It's available for anyone with show note access and above, because you guys are helping us make the show like that and staying with the notes. So we want you to make sure you kind of get that in your ears.
Y'all can be a bunch of creepy voyeurs. But yeah, on our list of creepy voyeurs this week, we got Miss Mlangston, who increased their pledge. Linux Nuru tossed us some cash all the way from Space Tanzania. Thank you so much for that. And Ven, what's this about Firewire?
I didn't do. Wait, I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
I don't know. What are you accusing me of?
You did now.
Listen.
I'm accusing you of plugging a card into a motherboard.
My default state when people say my name is I tend to say prove it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yeah, we need to thank a terribly mysterious stranger who does not want to be named for the third time. This showed up. This was hard mode because I mentioned at the top of the show that we didn't plan on getting it, but Amazon's like, motherfucker, you're buying this. And I was like, why? It's like, it's half the price it's used because we never pay retail, and it had free shipping. So we got an FCA 1616, which has the ability to communicate over USB too. But I was like, you know what? Be extra super sweet is we could have that vintage Firewire sound. So I threw this up on our wish zone, which if you do that, you end up on Frank's wall. There he is hanging out right there. Yeah. He's hanging around. Check him out in the credits too. But yeah, the installation for putting in PCI Express Firewire and Linux is insert card cut on. I didn't have near as much fun with that as I thought I would. But yeah, man, we do want to thank again, Mlangston. You increased your pledge. Linux New dropped that PayPal money on us earlier this day, and you guys made it possible. We're going to keep on rocking on. We are definitely looking to, now that we have the capacity and we're kind of hammering out the last little bits, waiting for things to freeze and make my life horribly miserable, to get some developers on, talk with us so we can learn from them. That goes for our Wednesday show too. And we do a bunch of extra streams and we invite everyone to come hang out with us. It's neat. It's fun. There's more stuff to do. And if we close out this, we're holding just at, this is like our moon goal to do this merch goal. Cause every time we get like to 260 or like one above, somebody's like, yeah, we got to come down. Hey man, if you got some extra jingle, go for it. If you don't. Mm-hmm. But I'd really like to close this month out. We're right there. T-shirts, flamethrower. Wait, we're not doing flamethrowers.
No,
we don't have that Elon Musk money. Neither will he after the SEC gets done with them. Hey-o!
Ooh, okay. SC controller, it's the thing.
It's the last controller. Well, it's the last release of Steam controller for a while, according to the developer. It's version 0.4.5, and apparently all his words, mess happening around Linux this week, he's decided to move away as far as possible. He does plan on finishing the enhancements eventually, just not right now. So, new stuff, you get the on-screen keyboard, which can now be used with the DualShock 4. So if you're running your DualShock 4 through Steam controller, you can. The profile editor for using the controller as a controller, I've said controller far too many times already, has been improved. There's custom SVG icon support for menus if you're into that. There's also a bunch of fixes, and yeah, it's the last release that's going to be out for a while. It's available, source code, app image.
I think the question that needs to be asked, though, I mean, with the Steam controller and all that being baked into the kernel, is there really a need for this tool?
Well, so that's the thing, right? Steam control the Steam controller GUI is fantastic for games that are actually running in Steam. But if you have one of these and you say maybe you want to use RetroArch on a Raspberry Pi or some other nonsense like that, you're going to need some method of hooking this into the actual application. And SC controller lets you. It's essentially it's the same thing as the Steam controller GUI, just done in like Qt and more. I want to say in a more platform agnostic way than baking it all into Steam. So yeah.
Yeah, and the kernel driver, even though it does handle all of the HID bits, if you do want to have that configurability, and well, mostly the ease of configurability, the SC controller does help you a lot with that. It's good to have the kernel driver, don't get me wrong, but yeah, no, it needs more, and it currently doesn't have that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Zom, yeah, there's a brand new update for that, version 0.80. I mean, these guys have been chugging along ever since Valve has been throwing penguins full of money at them. They added a state cache to this release. So what this will allow you to do is it caches the render pipeline state, which allows you to compile shaders a little faster because it actually tracks what actually needed to be compiled. So even if your shader cache gets invalidated due to like a driver update or whatever, you'll be able to rebuild that cache very, very quickly. It's going to cause it's going to eat up your CPU a lot from the outset, but once that's done, you'll be back in business. As well, there's some fixes for Project Cars and Assetto Corsa. My brain shut down on that one. I was going to say Korea. But it was Assetto Corsa. I don't know. I saw an E in there somewhere. I'm freaking high on cough syrup, man. Don't at me. And they actually have some better support for APUs or machines without dedicated VRAM. So that's a thing, especially for Pedro, who is running one of those in his bastardized Xbox.
Yeah, no, the Steambox 360 is eagerly awaiting when the Steam Proton 3.77 beta gets some mainline status, because, yeah, no, I want to see what those improvements do.
All right, coming up next, it's not dead, it's still alive. It's got an update to which I said, wait, this is still a thing. I've been told on multiple occasions it's a dead project by somebody with a competing project. Anyway, we're talking about PlayOnLinux. Release of PlayOnLinux 5. Not Alpha 1. I'm aware it's been a while. Yes, it has. And this is a true statement. Since we last gave news to you, be reassured the project is moving on, and we are here to give you some news, which then they proceed to provide said news. What's new and exciting in this?
I mean, it looks a lot more like Lutris than it did before. They've also ditched Bash for JavaScript for their scripting engine.
But why?
I don't know, Pedro. If there was only some way to contact the developers and solicit feedback from them, maybe we'd have an answer. But unfortunately, we don't live in that moon universe. They listed a couple of future goals as well. They want to create a flat hub style build system for wine games so that they can just have everything just shipped in a flat pack, which I mean is an admirable goal. It would certainly fix a lot of the wine fuckery issues because you're bundling every application with the compatible and like tuned version of wine for it.
And the thing I really like PlayOnLinux for is to basically manage wine prefixes, even though I'm using it Well, I'm not using it anymore because Proton's a thing, so I don't need it. But no, it's that's the one thing it always did better, in my opinion, especially better than Lutris, because actually, if you want to, say, run a game which has a mod manager and you're installing a lot of mods, and if you want to do that through Lutris, that's a fucking crapshoot. That needs work, Strider. That UI is not good. And on PlayOnLinux,
you're using it wrong.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so Pedro, how's that nudie mod run through of Fallout going?
Surprisingly well, actually, because I'm playing it through PlayOnLinux. But whatever the case may be, PlayOnLinux's UI was always that bit more intuitive than any of the competing platforms. I have no illusions that the moment Strider decides to get his French hairdo out of his ass, it will improve. But until then, PlayOnLinux, well, it's getting an alpha now, so, man.
I don't know, man. Hey, man, Lutris, I think Lutris is a better product simply because it actually receives updates. We're just picking at Strider. Yes. We love him. You know that. Days are numbered, man. For all these projects. If Steam... Now, I would say big-ass asterisk marks because this is Valve. This is Steam. They could forget they've done this legitimately. This is 100% possibility that Valve's like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore, and that could happen next week. I mean, and also Steve isn't. Yes, tell me more about what Steve's up to because this is very.
No, listen, we're all about that Steve, man. No, Steam isn't the only vendor for Windows games that people want to play on Linux. Blizzard, Activision. Well, there's a bunch of Activision games on Steam, but Ubisoft, even some EA shit, if people still want to give them money for God knows what reason, people still want to play it on Linux, and Proton isn't going to be the silver bullet for that. You're still going to need to use stuff like Lutris or PlayOnLinux or GameHub or whatever is the ultimate victor of this war. Mr. Rogers in a bloodstained sweater. Yeah, you're still going to need tools like that if you want to play those games on Linux. So.
All right, let's see. What do we got coming up next? OBS GL Capture. Game window capture for OBS using simple screen recorder's GL injector. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Yeah, man. How to use. You can set this up with SSR GL inject. This is going to work a lot like GLC encode used to work in the old days, way back when, like 5 years ago. Kind of, sort of, but the problem with doing any type of GL injection, now this is going to make it kind of easy so you could use it with OBS, and I haven't had a chance to play with it myself. Results are going to vary. Now, this could be a solution to playing something like Portal, which is a ginormous pain in the ass to work with OBS right now because of these issues. But with this, that might get around it. But when you're playing it with a Steam game, you're also going to trigger any and all types of fucking anti-cheat built into the system. It's going to go, what's going on here? Lead hacks, bro. Lead hacks.
This is with Vulkan.
Fuck no.
No, yeah. I figured as much, but you never know until you ask.
Yeah, no, it's the moment you start injecting things into the render path, all of the anti-cheats go. You doing what now? No.
And I think the pro tip for this is don't play anything with this that has any type of anti-cheat system on it with Steam. Just don't. But feel free to play. Actually, do it. Get back with us. Let us know. Wholly endorse it. Doom Royale. We teased it. It's a thing. Because, of course, it's a thing. They had to make it. And it's really called Doom Royale. With cheese. Battle Royale has come to Doom. High speed. Last man standing. Battle to the death. We're only one. It's a fucking Battle Royale.
Yeah, it's a Battle Royale mod of E1M2? Whatever the map is, and it relies on the Doom 2 iWAD. And 64 players, free for all, just shoot each other.
But it actually does the thing where the zone collapses in on itself, so it squeezes you in.
So it's it's Doom Battle Royale. Why you'd want to do it, I don't know, but you can.
Well, I mean, it doesn't cost you anything, so...
No, it is a mod. It is, every other engine in their dog has a Battle Royale mod out at this point, so it's... Might as well have one for Doom too. Why not?
Do you know what really needs a Battle Royale mode?
Vendetta, Curse of the Ravens Cry?
Checkers.
100-person checkers.
No. Battle Royale checkers is you go to the park and you find the people playing checkers, and then you just flip the boards over, and then you see what happens.
There's a lot of old people with guns laying about in the U.S., especially. Just don't.
So have you ever thought about developing an open source game and accidentally developed valuable skills?
No. There's no valuable skills to be had in game development whatsoever. No, this is from the Red Hat blog. They're talking with Michael Clayton and Jared Sprague from Command Line Heroes, the game, and they're just sort of talking about how doing game development can help build up good programming skills, learning how to collaborate with others, etc., etc. There's a couple good sentiments in the article. You can read this. The links to all this is in our show notes. You can check that out. But one of the things here is they say, don't get too hung up on your tools or framework, because you know what? Eventually you're going to hit a point where you're going to need to switch that out. There's no sense in throwing good time after bad, sunk cost fallacy, etc., and having like good development practices, learning how things work, getting some exposure to the low level side of computer science is very, very useful, because then you can always derive things from first principles, which is something I've learned a lot of people don't actually do in the professional industry. They're taught how to use a tool, and then they think that is the only way to do things. They don't necessarily understand how to sort of expand their horizon there. This is also in relation to the open source game jam that's or the open James Gam that's being held. That you like that one, Ben? Yeah. That you can still submit games for. I think you have until October 5th or 8th or something like that. So yeah. Check out the article.
It will help you a lot by basically the moment you put anything on the internet, you're going to get a lot of criticism and disparaging remarks about your progenitors, and that will teach you what is wrong and what you need to do to fix it. And, being the Linux community what it is, chances are not only will people disparage your dog, they will also help you fix your shit. So
learn how to take constructive criticism.
Also learn how to give constructive criticism, because there's a lot of people who are just...
This is true. I mean, walking in and be like, hey, man, your business sucks. That's another thing. But here's another issue that you can run into. It's like, hey, have you thought about like doing this and doing this? And I've ran into this personally with game developers, people I consider personal friends, like throwing out suggestions and just like genuinely somebody I'm having a rational conversation. I was like, have you thought about changing this? Watching them go from just regular conversation to straight up unhinged. And I'm just like, click. I just fucking hang up on you on that call. I'm like, nope. So
that's why you need to use DirectX under Linux.
Hey man, that's the thing. Last and most definitely least, a little bit of news from archive.org.
Yeah. Archive.org, home of the Wayback Machine. They also do a side thing where they make games available through the browser. And now their Internet Arcade has over 1,100 new machines added to the Internet Arcade archive, so you can play them in your browser, including Hot Dog Storm. Fuck yes! I don't even know what that game is, but I'm excited. I want to storm a hot dogs. But yeah, no, you can play a bunch of these old games that I would say would be nigh impossible to get like the original boxes for these days, or without spending millions of dollars. So now if you want to relive your glory days in the arcade, back when gaming was a social thing and not a bunch of nerds huddled behind their computers connected over the internet, you can do that.
That's neat. That's cool. Archive.org has done a bunch of stuff with this, with older games, and it still amazes me that we can play, because I remember playing these in coin ops, and a couple of them that you can just play in your browser now. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
In your browser with controller support.
I mean, it wasn't too long ago. This like doing this required an afternoon setting up MAME.
Yeah. And now MAME just runs on the fucking browser.
It's brilliant. It's a beautiful time to be alive.
Yeah. All right. Coming up next. Well, the game is called RAZED, but we're going to raise it for a bunch of other reasons, because, stay tuned. Boom! Boom! This is CHAIRQASITION. This is where we take your game, QA it, play it, we give it a little review. We grade it on a pass-fail based on does it launch, the performance, the graphics, the controls, and then we talk about a little bit about if we liked it or not. This week, we're taking a look at RAZED from Warpfish Games, developed on the Unity engine. You can pick it up for about 10 of your local wet, stinky currency. What is it? Sprint through dynamic neon levels in the quickest time possible, employing skills such as super speed boost, mega jumps, drifts, stomps, and strafes to bypass obstacles and uncover shortcuts to propel yourself to the online leaderboards that no one pays attention to. Yeah, so the devs did send us some keys for that. Thanks a lot. So let's get into it. Ven, on Ubuntu, how'd this shit run?
Hey man, that's a dirty word. Wait, no it's not. I run it. 1804 LTS. None of that fancy 1810 moon magic. Over here, Ryzen 7 1700, that's what we got. Running it on a 980, that old poor crusty thing. 16 gigajoules of RAM, you know this business. Song and Dance. So, does it launch? It's a Unity title. It better launch, which it did out of the box. No issues there. We're talking about performance at 1080p. On this system, it's 60. It's 60 everywhere. It doesn't matter what you do. Even if I kick it up to UHD, 3840 by 2160, still 60. That's the thing. Now, with something I think Pedro experienced a lot more than I did, it does have some micro stutters. That's the thing. I didn't have a problem with that earlier until I did. At UHD, definitely would drop randomly to like 40 FERPs from 60 like every 5 seconds. I was able to resolve that by dropping to 1080 and kicking it back up to 3840 by 2160. As far as your graphic options, it's your standard Unity boilerplate, but they did take the time to pretty it up a little bit. That's all your options. Graphics, look at it. Photons, all up in my face size. Simplified poly graphics, pretty colors. Kind of like it. A little muted. Controls, Steam controller. Out of the box again. It had the correct prompts. So, yeah, I'm going to have to say a solid 4-ish because I was able to basically get rid of that little micro stutter, the one that was affecting my gameplay.
Yeah, on Fedora 28, 64-bit with the i7 6700K, the GTX 1080 Ti. Yes, it absolutely does launch. VSync seems to be forced on, and you cannot do a damn thing about it, which is why you are locked at 50 or 60-ish FPS. For me, it was about the Steam overlay FERPS counter was about 58, 59, but whatever. Graphics-wise, yeah, they show up. They're very simplistic, but that's sort of the game's aesthetic. I understand what they're going for here. So that's definitely a thing. And controls, I played this with the DualShock 4. It worked. I can't really ding in a chair for not having correct button prompts because Valve doesn't fucking care about that. But that's about 4 chairs. Pedro?
Yep. Over here, yeah, I realized that it doesn't like to be moved to another monitor, but that's just me being picky. There's also no menu option for the windowed mode, but that's something you can work around if need be. The performance, it was locked at 60, as both Ven and Jordan already mentioned, but the at 1080p it was fine, it was smooth, but at 3840 by 2160, even though the frame counter on the Steam overlay was saying that it was still at 60, there was some very obvious microstutter, to the point where it actually affected the maneuverability and the speed of your character in certain situations. So that's a bit bad. Graphics, it doesn't really have any issues. The sounds are there too. The controls, did you honestly think I wouldn't notice the lack of rebindable controls in current year argument?
I don't know, man. I'm just enjoying watching you eat so much shit in this game footage.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, what you're playing this on like Windows ME, right?
No, I'm playing this on Solus with the Ryzen 5
again. You missed
1600. Yes, with the GTX 1080. So yeah, it gets 3 chairs from me.
All right. How about fun, Ven? Did you enjoy RAZED?
Sit back, kids. We're in for a fun one. You know, it immediately got me talking shit to it, and that's a good thing. I'm emotionally invested into a game. If I got through a level, I finally got through a level after Groundhog Day, that shit, man. And I was like, fuck yeah. And so, good on you, game. You did that. You know, then again, any game that, like this, with RAZED, that has a quick reset button is intentionally asking for said talking of shit, so Good. That's right, kids. We're going to talk about it, and you guessed it, it's a speedrunning game. If you're not watching the video. But first, we got to address the magic talking shoes. They are kind of bizarre enough to actually get a chuckle out of me there. Now, you can't say I didn't say anything nice about this game. The one thing you absolutely, positively have to get in a precision speedrunning game is fluid gameplay. Yeah. So much about that. You seem to have cocked that up royally. You know, with the Ryzen 7 980 combo, raised, however you want to say it. Can't really blame the hardware on this, and especially with Jordan and Pedro with 1080s and 1080 Ti's. I'm not running on the recommended hardware, unfortunately, which is, all right, wait for it, Fedora. Yep, look at Jordan. He's squeeing right now. I love Red Hat. I've been running Fedora since Core 1. Hell, you could even call me a fan human. But are you fucking kidding me? Really? Fedora? Not Debian or SteamOS, which would like fall in? Why not just Arch? Have it on Gentoo, hard mode, motherfuckers. Anyway, Raz, what do you have? You got a Polygon run and jump game that has you bouncing off walls, collecting diamonds, all while getting killed to death due to RNG physics, slippery-ass controls, and inconsistent frame pacing that's what Pedro calls micro-stuttering, and it's real. It will fuck with you. So at the end of the day, if you want to take that shot, RAZED is definite improvement to Outcry, the prototype that this was based on, but you can kind of fuck right off if you're calling this finished product. It's not. It's got issues. But who knows? Maybe they're going to be able to roll out a 1.1 patch that fixes some of these things, because there have definitely been times that button presses didn't register and just running doesn't feel right. Plus, if you have like the legitimate drops down to 40, it is completely unplayable, and you better be able to sort that or it's immediately going to have to get refunded. Yeah, in its current state right now, especially at the asking price of, survey says,
$12.
$12.
Yep.
Keep it on your wish list. Keep an eye out for an update and hope it gets updated. Maybe some like ghost racing too. That'd be nice.
Yeah, you do get a ghost. It's that little flickery thing that's running beside.
I'm tired of your ghost racism, man. Now, I'm one of these people who gets like really easily frustrated at games. This is just a character flaw of mine. I try to deal with it. I try to do my best, but you know, sometimes I just get the angries, and then I get a bit of the smashies. Well, fortunately, I didn't get it too much with this game, but it was getting very, very frustrating. Speedrunning, and like that's the thing. Like Ven mentioned before, speedrunning games like demand consistent gameplay, very, very consistent controls, and if it's going to be physics-based, consistent physics. This game does not have those at all. It's kind of troubling, and Ven corrected me earlier in the pre-super shows, but on the level that introduced drifting, you're better off not using the drift mechanics. So when the intended gameplay runs counter to the actual effective dominant strategy, you may have a little bit of a problem. And Pedro he's going to get into this a little bit more. But yes, the acceleration is super inconsistent. There's some weird stuttery things, and you know, sometimes you just get snagged on something that you're like, really, and then you die. And god damn it, I tried and I tried and I tried and I failed and I tried and I failed and I tried and I failed. Repeat ad nauseum as for these types of games. And it just doesn't do it for me. The visual style is fine, and I actually kind of dig the soundtrack. But this bag can eat a game of dicks. That's it. Brain.
Yeah, at the end of this particular video that you're watching right now, I finally beat the 3rd level of the 2nd chapter. I threw my hands up, I flipped the Sky Wizard to bird, and I promptly hit Alt F4. Because I was done. At 65 minutes of game time, I was just fucking done. Done with the micro stutters, which caused me to run off platforms all the damn time. I'm done with the crapshoot physics, which sometimes will make you slow down to a crawl when you land, and others won't affect the speed at all. So that's a crapshoot. I'm done with the randomly dying because I got a femtometer too close to one of the random hazards. It's games like these, like Ven already mentioned, they need that sense of fluidity and consistency. We threw chairs at distance last week, and that's, I guess, the perfect comparison, because for all its flaws, it does exactly what this game is attempting to do, but in a fluid and consistent way. I didn't mind the random physics fuck-ups as much in Distance because everything else was consistent, and even the fuck-ups were consistent. They were actively reproducible. So you can't have that in... if you don't have that in your game, if you don't have something that's consistent and reproducible, your game is not going to get a good score, especially if you're going for the speedrunning competitive thing like this one is. Yeah, it's just not fun.
No, it's not. We can give it a score, man?
Yeah, it's 1 chair.
All right. Well, that does it for Razed. Technically, all right. Gameplay-wise, do you got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
There's a lot to be done. I mean, especially if you want to come back and touch on the physics aspects, because in something like this, we get to compare it to like speedrunners. And if with just the mechanics of sliding around, jumping, and all that, if the game is going to fuck you, you want to make sure that you can work with it, that you have consistency in the getting fucked. You don't have it in this, because you can repeat the same action twice with different results, and that's not fun. You can have janky physics, but they have to be reliable. It's just not here. That needs to be sorted.
Yep.
Ta-da! Somebody who's not a game developer saying something about a video game.
Yeah! Wah, wah. All right, coming up next then, we got some hate mail. Apparently, Oren does not like being cold. Boo-hoo.
It's the end of the show. 'Twas a disappointing show, wasn't it? It wasn't? Okay, then you can let us know about it by going to LinuxGameCast.com, hitting the contact button, and filling out the form.
Where's the disappointment button?
It's your face. Just make sure to pick LGC Weekly from...
No one ever accused you of throwing like a witty rejoinder in at any point in your life, have they?
No, they have not.
And we're not going to start tonight.
Nope.
I was just gonna say it's funny too because people always accuse like, why are you so good at witty retorts? Because I have to deal with these fuckers every weekend.
But yeah, hitting the contact button is the best way to get in touch with us. If you'd like to send us some keys, you can do it through there. Just make sure to include 3. Or if you'd like to use our Curator Connect, you can do that too. Just make sure to include 3 copies.
No, I'm a game developer yesterday that sent one. We don't redeem them. There's no
And the
point.
message said, "This is a Linux game." Yeah, I know it's a fucking Linux game.
Steam needs to fix that shit too. Steam needs to fix that shit too, so you don't need to log into it again.
Yeah. What game did we get 5 copies of?
That was the what's it called? I can't remember the name. Asteroid Fight.
Okay. Yep. How do we? We can't even send those to people, so...
I guess Empty and Sandy can redeem them. They're leaders of the LGC group, so they can redeem them.
Hey, it's multiplayer. Maybe we'll do something with that, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Emails.
So we start off with Ryan Grange on Twitter, who apparently decided to make people at work scratch some heads. So, Jordan, Pedro, I needed a name, not a meme, for the new Ubuntu VM I was trying at work. Naturally, I turned to you guys for inspiration. I look forward to the network admin asking who has a machine named Nightmare Fuel.
Listen, yes. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have at least one VM or like Kubernetes service cluster called Turbo Cock Smasher.
I don't have anything named Turbo.
I have a VM named Bob.
I got Bob's my go-to. Bob
Derp is mine usually.
Really? I mean, Bob is like a fold. I've broken myself over the years from not naming shit Bob because Bob has bit me in the ass a couple of times.
It's Bob and Thing. I have another VM called Thing.
Thing.
Yeah. Do you have one called A? So you have Thing. I'm a Bob.
Thingamabob.
If I don't like a device, or it's usually PCs on the network, it will get the name Iscariot, which lets me know that I'm angry at it, and I don't trust it until I unfuck it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Write us, let us know some of the fun names that you've come up with. We can play with those next week.
Yeah, leave a YouTube comment.
How about using the contact form so it's easier to get all?
Or use Patreon. If you're a Patreon, use Patreon.
Hey, how about this, Jordan? You're now vice president in charge of scanning all the YouTube comments and adding them. You just applied, and I gave you the job right off the bat. Good job.
I think at this point, I freely choose death. Up next, it's Oren. He's talking about the weather, and he says, "Yodan, the weather wants to kill me, but I like the Swedish weather. Why does the weather hate me, Yodan? Is there something I can do for the weather? Whether or not the weather hates me, Plox Yodan, help me for jag I sverge. Love, Princess Banana Hammock. P.S. Pedro, you still haven't answered my second to last question on Hangouts. Oren, I would highly suggest you buy yourself a coat and maybe find yourself a pair of testicles so you can quit bitching.
No, man, I just imagine that Orange is like walking around Sweden with a banana in one hand and shorts and a t-shirt, and it's like 2.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. And Oren, allow me to just read out your question. Hey, Pedro, if I throw a stone from Sweden, what are the chances of you getting impaled through your urethra on a railing and the stone hitting your teeth?
6.
Yeah. See,
really?
The reason I didn't reply to that is because I'm honestly kind of done with the your face and your mom retorts when it comes to random people on the internet, Oren.
Don't
your
worry.
Face.
Listen.
And your mom's face.
There we go, Oren. You've got your attention. Are you happy now? Good. It's all in your system. Good luck. Waking up every day, having to go, I'm in Sweden. Go eat some chocolate, man. Have some cocoa. Chill the fuck out.
Hey, you're out of that shitty-ass country, so that's a fucking win. Just fucking take it.
I don't know, man. You been to Sweden lately?
Yeah, it is. Compared to Bangladesh.
You know what?
On that bombshell.
Let's cue the music, motherfuckers. You can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. That's where this train wreck starts. And it is Nightmare Train, Nightmare Fuel. But you know what? You love it. And we love you. Kind of. Just a little bit. Sometimes on Tuesdays after 4 p.m. I'm Vince Stone. You can always find me at Vince Stone on Twitter. That's where we get some of the feedback, man. Warning. Don't send me DMs unless I follow you. I'm not saying that because I'm all cool and shit. I'm just saying because it goes in a different folder and I never fucking see them. Plus Vince Stone, you can find me. I'm there, waving at you, smiling. Run.
I'm Jordan Spung. As a walking sentient bag of mucus, I am incapable of feelings. Although, I don't know. I can't really think because I'm also a walking sentient bag of mucus. You can find my expulsions at The Burning Fool on Twitter, plus Jordan Spung on Google+.
I don't expel anywhere near as much mucus as Jordan does, but right now all of my face is a bowl
I got the videos.
Pain. So if you'd like to add to that pain, you can do like Oren and harass me on the Google Hangouts, or you can go to Twitter and just type in @unaccounted4 or Google Plus at +bit
Hang on.
That's it.
There we go. All right. What did we learn?
I learned about Firewire.
Yeah, I did too. Fair enough. There's that.
Apparently that's still a thing. Source Games can't controller?
I still don't know what the down button does in Brad Symphony, and that's gonna
And
haunt my
credits.
nightmares.
Let's see. Well, we learned that there's still a bunch of insane people just throwing money in our general direction, and that's kind of awesome.
You know, as fun as we try to make it, man, we do a lot of return for that investment.
Yep.
No. I learned that you can put the Bangladesh in Sweden, but you can't take the Sweden out of Bangladesh.
That's the thing. It's also a little racist, man.
Just a little. What else did I learn?
Let's see.
I don't know. I didn't learn anything. I'm stupid. F-. Gotta repeat the 3rd grade.
I don't
God
know.
damn it.
I have a cold. I avoided the medication so I could get drunk, so things aren't doing too well. And Frank just scared me for a while there.
Frank does that.
Listen, I mean, if you're not scared by Frank, you have a problem.
It's just kind of popped up out of nowhere. So you, whoa, hello.
I don't know. I got to get a good shot of Frank so I can make a silhouette so I can make some Frankophile t-shirts. That's going to be a thing. All right.
Just keep the names.
or we can open up a sausage shack and call it
Sausage Shake,
Frank's.
Dying a Fire. We'll see you next week.
Shake you with a sausage.
Sausage shank.